It's the penultimate round of the Women's Six Nations, and after the disappointment of conceding over 50 points against England, Wales are eager to get their campaign back on track. But it's a big ask against France. Les Bleus have won their opening 3 matches. Victory today would set up a Grand Slam title decider against England next weekend. More than 20,000 tickets have been sold for this one in Grenoble. A hostile, intimidating place to go, said Wales back rower Sinead Harris this week. So can the Welsh Dragons handle the heat?
Why do we try?
And she is mobbed by her teammates.
Theon Lewis is not going to be allowed back into Scotland next time she comes. Oh, what a class to breach! That is wonderful. She's going through the gears and she's still going. That's amazing. Abby Dow! Ruthless performance from England. A sobering performance for Wales.
Hello there, good afternoon. Wales finished their Six Nations campaign with 2 away trips. Italy next weekend, but first up, it's France in Grenoble. Our team is ready, rearing to go out there, as are we here in studio. I'm joined by former Wales international Philippa Tuttiett and present Wales international Jazz Joyce, not involved in this campaign due to ripping it up on the 7 circuits with Team GB. It's going very well at the moment, Jazz.
Yeah, unfortunately not to be involved in this year's Six Nations. Duties are with Sevens this year, so yeah, just come back off a bronze medal win in Hong Kong Sevens, so first medal that Great Britain has ever won, so fantastic opportunity for us and achievement for all of us out there. Gutted, obviously, not to be involved in a Six Nations campaign, but great opportunity for all of the girls coming through, and what better way to do it in a stadium full of 20,000 French fans. And
an opportunity for us to see that brilliant try against Ireland last campaign as well. Right then, back to this afternoon. And I guess for Wales, after a great start to their campaign, it's about building on that promising opening 30 minutes against England last weekend.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think it's a sign of the professionalism now that the team has had the opportunity to really analyse that game and take away so many positives. Because, yes, the scoreline wasn't where we wanted it to be, but that first 30 minutes, like you say, they hustled England. But now the progression for them is they've got to turn that pressure into points.
Yeah, because that's what the top teams do, isn't it? When they're in that red zone, they come away with points, and France will do that this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. England were clinical in the outside edges against Wales, and they took the momentum and then took it all the way through to the end of the 80 minutes. So Wales need to control France's momentum and, yeah, take it away from them to get the win today.
Right then. OK, well, I think we're going to go to Grenoble and France because our reporter Alexandra Richards is out there and she's been talking to Wales head coach Johan Cunningham.
Johan, you've made 7 changes to the starting lineup today. Just talk us through your thoughts behind the team selection.
Yeah, well, it's a great opportunity for players to put their hands up. A lot of players have been patient and worked extremely hard in our training environment and also impacted the game well in the first 3 rounds. So we want to give them an opportunity today against a tough French opposition.
More than 20,000 fans expected in this stadium today. What have you been doing with the players this week to prepare them for the level of noise? Yeah,
well, we've had a lot of loud music in our training environment. Trying to make it difficult, it's going to be a test for our senses today, with noise, ref, crowd, so we're looking forward to it. It's going to be brilliant.
And Scotland's result yesterday means a point today would guarantee that 3rd place position. Have you spoken about that before the game? Does it change anything for you today?
Well, tries are important, so potentially we might take some opportunity to go after the tries instead of maybe taking a shot at post, but we'll see how the game goes.
Better luck today, Johan. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, thanks.
Yeah, and that 3rd place position, so important because it would mean that Wales would play in a top tier of a new women's competition in the autumn. Well, as we heard there from Johan Cunningham, quite a few changes, 7 to his side, but one who stays a constant, Eleanor Snowsill as that fly half. And she reaches a very special milestone today.
75th cap. Yeah, I didn't think I'd sort of make it to 75, but I guess the support of my family has helped me a lot to get here. It's been great. It's been probably quite a unique experience to be towards the mature end of my career, but then turning professional. I'm just really looking forward to take to the field with the girls.
That is wonderful.
England are probably the best team in the world, one of the best teams in the world, and they're going to continue pushing that bar higher and higher. So, you know, we're not under any illusions. We're going to continue working very hard, looking at ourselves. We are very happy with how the start of the tournament has gone, but that's now in the past, and we're now focused on the next game. France away is probably one of the biggest events of the Six Nations. It has been historically. They love their rugby out there, and they come to support in thousands, and it's a very noisy crowd. There's a great atmosphere. So I think just making sure that maybe the players who are new into the squad are prepared for that, and walking out, hearing that wall of noise come at you. Little things like you might not be able to communicate 10 metres away like you normally can do. You have to come tighter together. So just as long as you're prepared for it, then, you know, you'll be ready for it.
Preparation key. Ever the professional Eleanor Snowsill. Focused, let's put it like that. But what's the Snowy, as you call her, like off the pitch?
Yeah, like you said, she is very focused, very stern on the pitch, and that's exactly what you want from a player of her experience and also a 10. But off the pitch, she's a joker, she's fun, she's a great person to have in and around camp. So, yeah, very different off the pitch.
And it feels like she's been around forever, doesn't it? 10 years. She has weathered the storm, hasn't she?
Oh, gosh, yeah. You think multiple World Cups, Six Nations. She was at the Commonwealth Games with the Sevens. So she's been there, seen it, done it. But, you know, through the last management, she was actually thinking of stepping away from rugby. She had a bit of a tough time with it. But it was actually credit to her club coach at Bristol, Dave Ward. He really helped her to make that transition, change her play a little bit, but find the love for the game again. So I think that was key in the fact that she's gone on and she's had this longevity of a career.
She has been there forever. Right, then let's talk about France and their danger women. Where do you start? They are everywhere.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, that's why they're number 3 in the world. But I want to highlight this centre here, number 12, Gabrielle Vernier. She is absolutely fantastic. One of the standout performers in the World Cup. And in this Six Nations, she has just kicked on again. She's that modern 12 that's happy to slot in as fly half and play the ball around. But defensively, she's going to be lining up against Claky George. We normally see at 10. She's starting at 12. Exciting to see how that goes. But Claky George needs to use her feet because Gabrielle Vernier will line her up and she puts in huge hits. So she's going to be key for France today.
It's a big day for Abby Constable as well. First start, and what a place to have that first start. Is it sink or swim?
Well, fantastic for Abby Constable. She's getting her first cap in a stadium that's going to be full of fans, 20,000. Yeah, it is sink or swim, and the front row for Wales have been playing very, very well. So she's got big shoes to fill. But look, I'm really excited to see her go. New cap. She's got nothing to lose. So yeah, go get it.
It just shows the depth that Wales have now, that they are experimenting with that front row.
Yeah, it shows depth. We've also got Kate Williams is now getting her first start, so a bit of depth in the back row too. And that's going to be key for Wales, especially if they're aiming top-tier rugby, like you say, women's XV. They need a big squad of players to compete with the best in the world.
Does this feel like the right game as well? Because it's a tough one straight after England.
Yeah, I think so. You know, they were trialled, they were tested against England. How much have they learned from that? Because now this is the second toughest chance for them.
Well, last time out, France were 33-5 winners over Wales in Cardiff. They haven't lost to Wales since 2016. Does that change today? Let's join our commentary team, former Wales captain Rachel Taylor and Gareth Rhys-Owen.
Good afternoon, welcome to the Stade des Alpes in Grenoble. And one of the true wonders of sport, a French home game in the Women's Six Nations. There is nothing quite like this. Intimidating, perhaps. Overwhelming, all-consuming. The senses are buzzing here. It's a wonderful atmosphere, and it will just improve with the anthems. The scene is set. And the challenge is enormous for Wales. France are stacked. There's depth, there's experience. Front row, all play for Bordeaux, led by Locke Foriana. Ménager is an outstanding 8. Speaking of quality, few were better in the world than Vernier at 12. And the back three of Llorens, Boulard and Banet can certainly mortar. It's full of depth, full of experience, with a couple of young charges as well. As for Wales, where Johan Cunningham's big call in the front row, completely fresh 3 of Phillips, Hale and Abby Constable. 1 changed the back row. Kate Williams winning her first start at 7. Fionn Lewis at 9. The ball-playing skills of Theiki George will be an asset at 12, out wide. Carys Williams-Morris returns after missing the England game. Look at that bench. The front row in particular has gone very well for Wales in the campaign, and the bomb squad will certainly come on deep into the second half. Well, Rachel Taylor with me. Rachel, this is nothing new, this kind of atmosphere here for an away team in France. It's rather special, and if you're not used to it, like some of these young Wales players, it probably will be rather overwhelming.
Yeah, it's got potential to be, hasn't it? I mean, this crowd is amazing. This stadium is built, it's like an echo chamber in here. You know, everything is exaggerated and magnified. But I mean, what an experience! What an amazing moment for for Abby Constable to be out here and in her first cap. If you're going to do it, this is how you want to get one.
Big moment for that young woman. Playing at home, a number of Grenoble individuals here. Chambon, the scrum half. Big responsibility on her shoulders. But much of today's celebration will be about the woman holding the ball on the centre spot. Jessie Tremoulier, one of the greats of international rugby. Her final home game in France. France aiming for a Grand Slam showdown against England, and the nerves get to Wales, and first touch by Kate Williams is a knock-on.
Yeah, and it's exactly that moment, isn't it? Huge pressure, huge noise, everything's exaggerated, ball's up in the air, and obviously you want to get your first touch, you want to get your hands on the ball early, but just a bit of an error there from Kate Williams. She'll want to forget about that, put that behind her, try and get into the game as quick as she can now. She's got an opportunity from scrum to get straight in from a defensive side.
Ménager to Chambon, Tremoulier, Fionn Lewis, which gets away to Hermé, Ménager! The perfect start in Grenoble. Romain Ménager, one of the quality players, and there are many, many quality players in this French lineup. First scrum, down the blind side, and Ménager completes the job. 1 minute played. France 5, Wales 0.
It's just great support lines, isn't it? As soon as that half break is made, Hermé is there running that line, and then you are not stopping Ménager from that far out. She is an incredible athlete and such a powerful runner of the ball. Not even looking for space in that scenario. She's happy to carry straight over.
This elder statesman, or this elder state person would have been here time and time again. Nothing will face Jessie Tremoulier, and she will look to add the extras. Casual style, but it flops over, and the locals get exactly what they craved.
Yeah, they do, and it was a good try, wasn't it? The platform was set, you know, whether they've looked at Wales's blindside defence, seemed like that was a pre-planned opportunity for them, but Wales got to get straight back in this game now. If they can get on the scoreboard next, or at least get something, good territory, good field position, just settle those nerves.
The ball was allowed to bounce by Courtney Kate, and former Wales skipper Rachel Taylor just punches the air in frustration because things are just not going the way of Johan Cunningham's women right now.
No, it's just that field position, you know, you concede a point, the next thing you want to do is be in the opposition half for a little bit of time, and they've got the opportunity now though to go line out, and it's just about possession and keeping ball. They have to be really careful in their kicking game today. If they kick to this back three, you know, it's so important that they find grass or get the ball off the pitch.
First kick by Ella Snowsell. It's a loose kick. Nerves are jangling. Knock on off kickoff. Drop balls. Balls being allowed to bounce. And an early try conceded. Not the start they would have wanted.
No, I think I'm going to stop speaking.
To the tail they go. Beautifully taken by Scudero, the blind side. Sochat, right at the tail of the driving maul. Encouraged by the supporters, Vernier, Ménager, twin sister of the try scorer. Tremoulier wants it. Advantage being played. Keith has to get his skates on. And she was being hunted by Bane, but we'll go back for the penalty.
Yeah, good initial defence, I thought, there from the maul, from the forwards. Wales just keeping them out, keeping them at bay. I think it's just that back line creeping offside to force the penalty, but that's Tremillier's expertise there, the calmness and the time on the ball that she has. She's got the ability to spot that space in the backfield and just put one through. You know, it's a free shot, that penalty's come in, it's an opportunity to score.
Jessie Tremoulier, player of the decade, according to World Rugby. Last decade, final season, final home game. She was given such a warm welcome when she entered the field alone, ahead of her teammates. An icon of World Rugby, an icon of French sport. And she is expected to dot this one over and make it 10-0. No drama, 10-0.
I think it's worrying for Wales in the early signs, isn't it? Just how calm and how relaxed she looks playing today. She seems very self-assured, just leading the backs into their moves, getting into their rhythm. Same with the forwards around the area of the ruck, and just seems very, very comfortable kicking at goal.
We're just pausing for one of the assistant referees to get her microphone sorted. That might well be what's needed from a Wales point of view, because all of a sudden people can just stop, take a breath and try and get back into this match. Keat looking to counter-attack. First possession of the game for Wales. Fionn Lewis. Cerys Hale starting today. Bethan Lewis in midfield. Wales just want the ball. Snowsell. Hannah Jones looking to drift outside the defence of Escudero. Snowsill spots the gap. Oh, she was half through, no support, and Fleming, fair play to her, was going backwards, and then she did accelerate into the tackle. Cleaky George, Neumann, lost, turnover, Tremoulier, Kate Williams, turned the ball over, but it was a high shot, and another penalty for France.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Just opportunity for France to relieve the pressure there. Gone through 6-7 phases of Wales play, managing to keep ball. Nice ball movement from Wales, going from one side of the pitch to the other. It's probably just like you said, that organisation, isn't it? Running onto the ball, making sure they're getting their depth so that they are giving themselves the best opportunity to attack. It's just frustrating that it's a penalty. It just takes all the pressure off France and they get field position again.
Yeah, no complaints really with that call. History favours the side in blue. Wales have never won in France. They've only once scored more than 7 points. And this is Tremoulier pushing defenders out the way. They're looking so sharp and threatening through Banet on one wing, and then it's Boulard on the other, the full-back. Tremoulier spots Hermé. She waits for the ball, the open side, and she's away. Brilliant, brilliant finish by Hermé. The kick was on a plate for her, but she had all the work to do. And Gaëlle Hermé scored France's second, and we've only played less than 10 minutes here at the Stade des Alpes.
Yeah, probably can't pick it up on the cameras, but Hermé was out here probably 2 or 3 phases prior to that, literally screaming, almost bent over, trying to get that message across that crossfield kick was on. And like you said, what a pinpoint kick. But she's got so much to do still from there. She's got the speed to take on the winger on the outside and then just powers herself through. But what great vision, and like you said, accuracy on that kick, spot on.
It's so loud here. And then the noise, if the pattern's to be followed, will just dip and drop and dissipate completely. For Tremoulier to add the extras. Such a lazy style. No effort whatsoever. And it's no sweat here for the French. Immaculate so far. 17-0, and Williams-Morris beaten by the open side, Rachel.
Yeah, they just look in the zone, don't they? Every single one of the French players just looks really on it at the moment. They just seem really intent on making a statement in this first 20 minutes. Must have seen how encouraged Wales were from that first half performance against England and just don't want to have any risks here, France.
Here's Courtney Keat. Fionn Lewis got the call. The numbers were the other way, so Bethan Lewis will drag the defender, and France have reorganised, so Wales keep going the same direction. Shaky George. Georgia Evans, one of the standout performers for Wales so far in this Six Nations campaign. Caris Phillips, the former skipper. Hannah Jones. Was no crossing. Referee allows that to play. Evans can play in the back row and lock. Snowsill, flat pass to Abby Fleming. Shaky George, she did very well there. Wouldn't have been too grateful for that pass.
No, it's just manages to avoid the first defender, but unfortunately steps back into the other. There's some ferocious tackling coming from the French defence at the moment. They're really managing to spot who those Wales ball carriers are and just come out Don't know whether Wales just might want to get a little bit deeper, just start scanning to see if there's any spaces in this French defence.
Bethan Lewis, looks to me like Cerys Hale has taken a knock, and she rather gingerly gets back on her feet. So Ffion Lewis sensibly goes for the kick, out in the full. Second time Wales have done that.
Yeah, for me, I think right idea, like you said, probably just ran out of bodies there for a certain period, wasn't there, of the carry-in and that like ferocious defence from France. So it's a good opportunity when you hit that 15-metre channel. If you've got that ruck set up, it's a good chance to do that box kick. Not necessarily one that you want to put too much length on. It's probably one that you want to try and get up in the air and compete with. And the fans are definitely enjoying the first 15 minutes of this game.
A Mexican wave in many a sporting arena is seen as an indication that the supporters have lost interest in the match. I don't think that's the case here, is it?
No, I think, you know, we were lucky enough to be part of the build-up, weren't we, pre-match? And, you know, this stadium's been literally jumping probably for the last hour and a half, so they're definitely trying to make the day of it.
It's brilliant, and as I said, it's not aggressive or intimidating. It's just all over you. You cannot escape it in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, look, they just do it so well, don't they? Noise, fans, families, you know, people appreciating the game, and at the moment it's a great spectacle.
Tremoulier forwards in midfield. Vernier, oh, that's a delicate chip, could have gone anywhere, and eventually it's knocked on and accidental offside. But the variation there from the French. Gabriel Vernier, arguably the best player in the world right now, can play 10, and that was just something a little bit different.
It's just really smart, isn't it? Notices that line speed, you know, particularly off a line out. See if that defensive team puts a really hard pressure on the line speed. There's normally a bit of a disconnect between them and the backfield, so that space middle of the pitch opens up, and then it's all about the bounce of the ball. I think it's Escudo tries to catch one behind her back, which would have been pretty impressive, but just forces a penalty though, so Wales will be pleased to have some possession in this part of the pitch.
Ffion Lewis. Snowser. Another penalty. What's going on here, Rachel? Why is nothing working from a Wales point of view?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, France have got one of the best defences in the women's game at the moment, and arguably the men's game. For me, it's just the moment, it's how the game started. Those, you know, having to concede early. Wales just need to almost have a breather, have a calm down, like you said, that pause earlier, just a chance to breathe, try and keep their hands on the ball, and then when they run out of ideas, it's about probably kicking a little bit smarter. You know, we've seen one go out in the full, we've seen one straight to the wing. You know, we just need to find grass, try and turn this French back three, or at least try and put them in a difficult position of the pitch.
Tremoulier, Boulard, Llorens, she's got support, Banet, oh, great tackle by Lisa Neumann. It was Banet against Neumann, and there were so many players coming back, and Sinead Harris takes one for the team, really, and Wales are down to 14 women.
Yeah, not a lot you can do there. As a back row, you're always going to try and flirt with what's legally correct, but I think if they'd managed to get that pass away, it was probably a certain try, but it puts this Welsh pack in a really difficult position now, having to defend another line-out. But great cover tackle to prevent the try in the beginning.
Not straight the call.
the little look, isn't it, from Sosha? Back to the assistant referee today. Just double checking if they were sure about that.
I think that's the first unforced error for France so far in an immaculate opening 17 minutes. It's deafening here in Grenoble.
This will be an interesting one because I think Williams-Morris has gone onto the flank, leaving Eleanor Snowsill in the blind side where they look to exit.
Bethan Lewis did very well. Just gained her side a few valuable extra seconds, sucked in a couple of defenders, and now the challenging work of opening up the angles to get the exit. Snowsill, snap kick by her. As a result, it's France ball deep into red 22. Worth remembering that this French side, not the complete makeup, but the French team 6 months ago were one penalty miss away from a World Cup final. Third in the world. A quality side, packed not only with big thumping forwards, but pace to burn out wide. Sosha pops out. Vernier, Tremoulier, Boulard controls it football style. Now Keat gets it. Unexpected opportunity for Wales. Bethan Lewis into the physical nature of the game. Georgia Evans, good carry by her. Snowsill finds greenery. Now, what will Boulard do there? Well, there's your answer.
Yeah, that's exactly what Wales need to do. There was a couple of bits in that, obviously fortunate enough to get that turnover in the first place, but it's that line of Bethan Lewis that comes, like, they've already made that bust in the French defence, and they carry again, and they try and just make little dents. There's another carry, and then it's just a really smart kick, kicking on the front foot.
Yeah, it was Keat and then Bethan Lewis with the carry. And Emily Boulard will be slightly annoyed with herself. So, end of the opening quarter. What will be the messaging coming on from a French point of view and from the touchline from Johan Cunningham and his coaching staff?
Yeah, look, I think France have looked really dangerous, haven't they? Especially probably in that transition part of the game. They look like they're very comfortable throwing the ball out wide, and they're definitely going to have a go. I think, for me, Wales have looked strong in certain areas when they're getting those sort of one-out carries, but it's just a little bit readable. I think they're going to have to mix the variety up around the ruck play and almost, as we saw in that example, just force this back three, force this defensive line from France to do something different. And then when they get an opportunity, they've got to go for it. They've got to be brave. They've got to have a crack, and they've got a midfield centre scrum to do exactly that now.
I'm guessing Wales will go right here, because if the camera pans back, they don't have a single player to the left, despite there being an open side to the left. So here they go right. Fionn Lewis, 14 players. Snowsill. She was hinting that the passing sign was going to come. Kate Williams, first start for her. Took a punt at playing for Wales. Came all the way back from New Zealand. Hale took an early bump herself. She's slightly isolated. Good clear out by Bethan Lewis there. Williams again. Wales' best attack, and boy, do they need something. And Lleici George on the miracle angle couldn't hold on to the ball. Vernier. France just looking at tidy up the ruck area, get the clearance away, which they do. Let's go pitch side and join Alexander Richards.
Thanks, Gro. Yeah, I'm with Alicia Butchers. Alicia, not the start you would have wanted to this game.
No, it's not, but we knew coming to France was going to be a very difficult task for us, and they really brought it to us the first 20 minutes. We're just hoping now the girls can retaliate and get some points on the board.
What do you need to do to try and get into this game?
I think we just need to go back to what we're really good at. Our rumble game and our scrum has been really effective for us, the Six Nations, so if we start bringing that back into the game a little bit more, hopefully we can get a foothold in this game and get some more points on the board.
Alicia, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, they could do with Alicia Butchers, couldn't they?
Yeah, she's a brilliant player. It's always pleasing to see, you know, as the Six Nations has progressed, just her return to play. You know, we've seen her out running and passing in the warm-up today as well, so hopefully she'll be back fairly soon.
Llaki George. If she was first distributor there, Wales have two ballers at 10 and 12, but they need the grunt and the shunt of the likes of Bethan Lewis, and now they've lost their shape.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear Alicia Butchers talk about the rumble game, isn't it? You know, I wonder what that means to this Welsh team, but they do seem to be getting go forward when they use their pods. It's just the variety, and I think, you know, we saw that hard line from Llaki George earlier. They have to mix that variety in to create opportunities. It's just the final part of that execution that's just lacking at the moment for Wales.
A couple of players carrying a couple of knocks to them, and Bethan Lewis is one of them, and she's overrun her support and she could be isolated. Fionn Lewis, yeah, had to get her hands in there, and as is so often the case, Bethan Lewis made the break, but it counted against the team. Meanwhile, George Evans, Caris Phillips and Bethan Lewis are down, and the shot concentrated on Bethan Lewis, but off camera George Evans is in some pain.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show just the amount of physicality that this French defence are bringing at the moment. You know, the Welsh players, they're running with intent, they want to carry, they're just not winning that collision, and France far more dominant in that area at the moment. I think that's Fulani's potentially second turnover in 5 minutes. You know, she's being really smart at which ones she goes for at the breakdown.
Here's the injury. Oh, here's the carry. And yeah, just a warning to Caris Phillips for that clear out on Chambon. Just a ticking off.
Yeah, I think, look, it seems that Wales are losing that they've got a disconnect, haven't they, between the ball carrier and those that are cleaning the defender out. They probably just need to have a little bit more focus over the next 5-10 minutes just on speed of ruck. You know, they look really dangerous, Wales, when they can go through the phases and keep that high tempo ball. It's just, you know, it's a huge effort and a huge ask against such a good defence.
Because the George Evans is back up. Wales are looking light at lock. Number of injuries. Gwen Crabb being one, Natalia John being the other. And yet, Cerys Hale, who took a bump in the opening 10 minutes, hasn't looked right since, and sensibly she departs. That's the tackle on Evans. Bad replacement on.
I think she's having the tournament of her life, isn't she?
It's number 18. You can just see in the shot there. Cecilia below 2. On as a replacement, given a breather today. But Wales need all the reinforcement that they can have. They weren't ready for that line of D then, but France have their tails up. Oh, wow, what a beautiful break. And they're away. What a finish. Llorens ghosting through the Wales defence. She's done it again. She cannot stop scoring tries in this competition. Third try conceded by Wales. And they are falling off first-time tackles and being punished for it.
Yeah, it's clear that France want to play at a higher level of speed of this game. They want to increase the tempo. Wales were not ready, not defensively set from that line out. Just such a balanced athlete, ball in two hands, transfers. It's a lovely in and out line.
Melissa Llorens with a try. Played the match last week. Beautiful finish this week. And if the opening 25 minutes is to be repeated, this conversion shouldn't be an issue either. Indeed it's not. France are up to 24. And Wales need to get back to 15 players ASAP.
It's a great use of a blindside winger, isn't it? Just always have those messages from coaches. Get yourself, you know, ball in hand, find moments in the game where you can make an impact, not just out on the wing, and just really, really smart from them at using that additional player, having conceded that try with the absence of Sioned. So Wales will be pleased to be back to 15.
Boulard. Strange old kick. Snowsill. Looked up. Thinking of the 50-22. Tremoulier has to scramble across. That's charged down. They're all onside. Fionn Lewis. She goes. Shaky George. Hospital pass. Could work for Wales. Ball in one hand.
Use it!
Harris Phillips. With a number of players.
No.
Who's there at the Knoll in 2016 when Wales last beat France. As was this woman, Eleanor Snowsill. Nice from Wales. Keats. She is rough-handled right on the far touchline, but stays in field. George Evans plays scrum half. Sioned Harris. They're not getting much change out of the defence, Rachel.
No, it's good line speed.
Here she is again. Tuipulotu and gets the ball away to Fleming. Impact needed. Impact given. Once again, it's Cecilia Tuipulotu. Is there anything this young woman cannot do?
No, she's having a great impact on this game, and for me, it's just these little movements of the ball that are going to help. You know, we saw Shaky George take a huge hit earlier, but it's the quick hands that releases somebody else on the outside, and that's what they're doing again through the forwards, and just deserved that for me. And let's see if they can take an opportunity now when they've good kick just outside the 5-metre line. Chance for the Welsh forwards.
Wales would have been very happy with the opening 30 against England. It's at a complete contrast here in Grenoble. Back footing it for 28 minutes, loose line-outs. Tremoulier, watch out. This is what France like to do. Counter-attack from deep. Boulard gathers, steps, beats one defender. Gets her away to Banet. Back into Ménager. Over the touchline. But how about that for counter-attacking rugby?
It's what they want to do, isn't it? As soon as they get that half opportunity. Such a threat from transition, this French team. Smart play as well, coming inside, realising there's support play on the inside. It's just a little juggle, but it's deemed forward. Great from Vernier in the first place as well, just to whip that ball out. She knew that needed speed on that pass to free these outside backs. It's frustrating for Wales though, isn't it? You know, penalty, good few phases of play, get that penalty, opportunity at line out, and then it's just the execution of the line out. And these are the moments they'll talk about at half-time, you know, trying to keep their hands on the ball, take the opportunities that are given.
Set. Give it up. Yeah, yeah. Girls, we need a break foot and stability. Yeah. Feet over under your body. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
Closing the gap is the buzz phrase in the Women's Six Nations 2023. France and England are a few steps further up the ladder.
Crouch!
Wales know that one more point in this competition, they will finish third.
Set!
But the here and now, they are under extreme pressure, and the referee left with no other choice. And away go France again through Chambon on her own ground. Knocked on by Lleici George, deliberately as well.
Deliberate.
It's punishing, isn't it?
It is. I think Lleici George might be lucky there. Might have had additional numbers outside of that deliberate knock-on, potential French opportunity to score a try, and certainly in the form that they've been in the last 31 minutes. Worrying signs from that scrum though.
Very, very worrying. And then
Yep.
the
Thank
hit
you.
from Brousseau and the all Bordeaux front row. Penalty, and Chambon is keen to go.
Take a step.
Strange old climate here in Grenoble. It's warm, but it's sticky and humid, and it's threatening to rain, and France are threatening to run away with it again. Ménager, such a brutal presence in midfield to the twin sister who plays in the centre. Both could probably change and switch positions. French forwards carrying now. Now they give it some width. Tremoulier, Brousseau on the shoulder. Tremoulier turned the wrong way there, but the ball is back. Escudero. Big collision on George Evans.
No, leave it.
France sniffing for a fourth. Ménager. They have women out wide, should they wish to use them.
Ball is there.
Chambon. Big carry. Kalfoui. Forwards combining. Chambon is there. Big tackle on her from Kate Williams. Now they're queuing up to the left. France looking for a fourth. Penalty given.
Anti-rack.
Chambon waits for nobody, but the referee isn't happy.
Restart. No. Restart. Anti-rack.
Hands in the right call from the referee. Wales trying to do anything they can do just to slow this French onslaught down. Nice variation used though, and Chambon's just trying to do everything she can to add some energy and some tempo into this game. And as those defenders space out, I think it's Fulani just spots a nice little option to go straight through the ruck. So just really keeping these Welsh defenders guessing. They're constantly having to scan, constantly having to work on either coming in or spreading out. They're really, really toying with them at the moment.
Escudero, middle ball. France will not get there.
Not straight. It's wrong.
Wales look as if they've got their defensive policy in that area of the pitch to stay down, which means that ball in from France has to be on the money, otherwise it just looks really skewed from a referee's perspective. They'll be frustrated. That's 2 opportunities they've missed in the 22 now from set piece.
Interesting statistics popping up for us. Wales made some meters. The last Welsh scrum was destroyed, and Siobhan Harris sensibly gets it up and away and clears the danger thanks to Ffion Lewis. But it won't be much of a respite.
Yep, thank you. Yep.
Now, Ffion Lewis booming the anthem is one of the visual and audio sights and pleasures of this year's competition. 2 big tries in both previous Six Nations campaigns against Scotland, and given her opportunity ahead of Kira Bevan, Tremoulier. France scrappy, unusually so. Calfoui, the tight head. Ménager picking up some steam. Brousseau met by Kate Williams, but she rode the tackle. May, good tackle, Abby Fleming.
No advantage. High tackle. Number 8.
Siobhan Harris, high tackle.
Opportunity to see if France go for another line out. That's, I think, 3 now that they've unsuccessfully used as a platform or as a launch attack. It's unlike them, they'll be frustrated by that, certainly at half-time. Going back to Ffion Lewis, though, it's working well for Wales that they've got another opportunity as a kicker, another somebody else that they can use to exit when they get into that 22. You know, Llakey George, Eleanor Snowsill, and Ffion Lewis can also get those exit kicks in.
Cecilia Tuipulotu. Brief impact is completed. Kera Sale back on. Her job is to defend this driving maul. Forlani hands it back to Brousseau. Sochat, the hooker. Chambon. She's got Llorens on her shoulder. But the forwards fancy a bit of the action. Told to release her, Wales. Approaching half-time. France completely dominant at the foothill of the Alps. Round the corner they come. Options galore, but too many of them because they got in each other's way.
Yeah, just looking for the old battering ram there, really. Not an awful lot of creativity coming from France in that certain play. I think Wales did really well to hold that initial drive again. Obviously, the stuff they've done in defensive maul scenarios. Had that practice, of course, against England as well. But they do so well in that. And then there's a few individuals. I've seen Eleanor Snowsill a few times just trying to keep in a tackle. And all that does is buy your defensive line behind you a little bit more time to reorganise, to scan. It looks like that's going to be a key part of their game if they're going to keep France out. They just need to buy themselves that little bit of time and tackle.
Let's go, ladies.
Third in 6 of the 8 World Cups of this French side. And 13 of the last 14 matches against Wales. Just that one defeat in 2016. Ffion Lewis, Snowsill, Williams-Morris. Rare opportunity for her to get the ball in her hand. Siobhan Harris. anybody's ball here. Boulard claimed it in the end. This is where France are dangerous and Wales are a little bit light on the right-hand side. And away they come, sniffing for a fourth. Vernier, big collision. Bethan Lewis goes for the spoils. Chambon, Picou, Tremoulier, Banet. Good tackle, good defence. Williams-Morris, and Tremoulier is up and away again. Wales having to do so much work defensively. France again, hungry, relentless in the pressure they put on Wales.
Thank you.
Brousseau met again by Bethan Lewis. What a shift she's putting in defensively. Ménager gets it away to Vernier. Vernier with the offload. Llorens stopped somehow, but she gets it down. And the pressure told in the end. The coaching staff depart to the dressing rooms. And France have a bonus point just before half-time. Llorens is second. What a well-executed and well-finished fourth French try. That was a long time getting down there, wasn't it?
It was. She stayed in the fight. Frustration for Wales, though, you know, there was although that scrum was creaking, it gave them a platform for an exit. They'd worked their way out of the 22. Unfortunately, it was just right on that borderline, which means the kick can't then go out. So, unfortunately, just not the execution on that box kick, allowing France just to come straight back at them again from one side of the pitch to the other, just opening Wales up defensively.
France have been good. Tremoulier has been excellent. She'll bide her time. And this time, it's unsuccessful. But France are on course for a Grand Slam showdown. They've totally dominated Wales in the half. Plenty of questions to answer for Johan Cunningham and his coaching team. 4 tries for the French, and at half-time, the score here at the Stade des Alpes, Grenoble, is France 29, Wales 0.
Well, to say that it has been a tough start for Wales would be an understatement. 4 tries conceded in that first 40, bonus point in the bag. As a team, they have been fantastic, France. Individuals have shown their flair. So what does Johan Cunningham do to stop this French onslaught? They need answers fast. Well, the most important stat for you, the score, 29-0. Possession-wise, it looks quite equal. Territory as well. Conceded penalties, 9 for Wales. Tackles made, only 40 by Wales. France have made 72. Metres made, 420 by France. 8 offloads as well for the French. A tough watch, that one, for any former player, any current player, any fan as well. But let's not take anything away from France. They have come out here to play. A statement from them in front of a capacity crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. France are, like they say, they are enjoying themselves out there. And unfortunately, Wales are on the back end of that. They just can't get grip of momentum at the moment. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Johan and Hannah have to say now in the changing room. So, game is always of 2 halves, right? So hopefully they can come out, different team, get the momentum back and then go forward.
even from the first kick, Philippa, it was a tough one for Wales. It feels like a step back, possibly.
It just feels like they're playing with a little bit of lack of belief. It was a shaky start. We talked about that environment. The girls themselves said, you know, it's one of the most intimidating places to go and play, but you kind of hope that they were prepared for that. But seeing unforced errors like this, kicks out on the full from the Eleanor Snowsill that we were talking, you know, about. She's such a fantastic player. And you felt when they were kicking, it was under pressure. They were forcing it. Look, the France back three, they're fully set and ready to take that as it was. It was kicked out on the full as well. You know, we talk about the possession, the territory, all equal, yet I don't feel like we've actually seen Wales play at all. So the stats are a little bit misleading. You felt, you know, with the scoreline, it wasn't that strong when they played against England by half-time because you felt like you saw so much from Wales. They'd really imposed themselves. They haven't got into this game yet. They've really got to have a stern talk at half-time.
Yeah, they did need a strong start, but a minute on the clock and the first try conceded.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we can tell here, they are set, they are numbers on. I think potentially need to be more dominant in the tackle to then get into floor. France are offloading anything and everything, even when there is 2 tackles around them. So, yeah, really exciting for them to come back out now. Hopefully Johan and Hannah, yeah, have a good word with them.
What happens to you as a player out there on the pitch when you go down a score like that so early on?
Yeah, it is tough because you know then that when France get momentum, when they're excited, when they're playing in a crowd full of 20,000 people, they are exciting. They do try different things. So, yeah, it is tough. I think each individual who's made a mistake out there needs to park it up, go again and, yeah, come out a second half.
And from then on, every French player seemed to want to get involved, some fancy footwork from the open side.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got threats. We talked about it all over the field. But this was their next try. Now, for me, Jessie Tremoulier, yeah, fantastic player, but you've got to put more pressure on her than that. Look how much distance there was between her and the defensive line. Gave her that time to pick out this lovely cross-field kick. Now, it's just a one-on-one tackle at the end. You know, Wales, they've got to come up with a little bit more belief, that confidence that we saw against England, get in these players' faces, because, like you're saying, they're playing with, when French players are playing with a smile on their face, that is when they're at the most threatening, and they could really run away with it in the second half.
Things go from bad to worse. A yellow card, Sinead Harris sees 10 minutes in the bin, and you just knew there was going to be another score during this period. Yeah,
unfortunately, yeah, Sinead did get a yellow, but they did do quite well when Sinead was off. They did only concede 1 try, so yeah, credit to Sinead coming back on and working hard. But unfortunately, yeah, they're just...
It's a great individual try, isn't it? You'd be proud of this one, wouldn't you?
I'd be very proud of that one, yeah. Again, just defences not connected and individual brilliance, to be honest, with this one as well. There's only so much you can do against a good attack.
Because we saw the French just have so many runners behind every single player, so they're really narrowing the Welsh defence. You can see a cluster of the 3 players, but they've got that skill set then. They just put that little loop in and they're getting on the outside edge of the defence.
They are dominating, aren't they, France? It is a joy to watch them. It's just unfortunate that it's against Wales. For now, thank you very much. Right then, let's get some more reaction. Let's head back to Grenoble because Alex Richardson has some company.
Thanks, Catrin. Yeah, I'm joined pitchside now by injured Welsh second row Gwen Crabb. Gwen, first of all, how are you doing and how is the rehab going?
Yeah, it's going quite well. I'm just about 9-10 days away from surgery now, so it's just about, you know, staying active, trying to keep my quad and my hamstring and that kind of thing as activated as possible. But yeah, then going into surgery and then I'm starting from square one and I'm excited to get that underway.
How frustrating is it for you having to sit and watch on the sidelines, especially amongst an atmosphere and in a stadium like this?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and I think, you know, the circumstances where I came back from ankle injury, got re-injured again, like, makes it even more frustrating because it's been a long time since I've actually tasted a little bit of this atmosphere. But I've sort of put that to the back of my mind, and I'm here to just support the girls and do everything I can to help them as well.
A tough first half. Take us into that changing room. What will Johan be saying to those players at half time?
Yeah, it's definitely been a very frustrating first half, and I think the hardest thing for us is that we're the ones that have caused that for ourselves a lot of the time. Little things like piggyback penalties, discipline, and not really capitalising on the possession that we have had. So I think it'll be sort of a mindset of frustration going into that change room, and I think the girls will be quite disappointed in their own performance, but that's not to say that we can't bounce back out of this now and come and bring it in the second half. We've got great changes to come off the bench and I'm excited to see what they bring with the energy off the bench as well.
Yeah, Tuilapi made a great impact when she came off the bench then.
Yeah, definitely. She's a little superstar. You know, I always love, she's my roomie when I'm in camp, and I love watching her come out and play. She brings such energy and such a good vibe to the squad. So yeah, excited to see what she can do when she comes on again.
Gwen, thanks very much for your time.
No worries, thank you very much.
Well, it's been non-stop action from France in that first 40. Breathtaking stuff. Wales have it all to do. They've struggled to get their hands on the ball. Can they do so in the second half? The fans are enjoying themselves. No surprises, really, with that first half score. Right then, highlights from this afternoon's match will be available on Scrum 5 Sunday this evening. Join the team later on. They'll also be analysing Judgment Day yesterday. 2 cracking derbies, starting with Dragons against Scarlets.
Jordan Williams, Rio Dyer. Oh, what a step by the winger. Back to Jordan Williams. A bit of skill to light up this stadium.
I thought Jordan might have given it a bit early today, but it gives him a one-on-one McCombia. And boy, does he stand him up. The little one-handed shuffle inside.
The Scarlets looking to attack. Ball out. To Pelotu. Hardy. Door open. Within a metre. No, he's there. He's there. The comeback starts now for the Scarlets. Bradley Roberts, ever the bundle of energy. Now they give it width. Rio Dyer back in against the grain is Angus O'Brien. Steph Hughes against his former region.
Here he goes. Williams off again, and space sorts, and there's support on his right, but he's going to go himself.
Great
Thomas
ball.
Williams in on the left, and here comes Max Llewellyn to slide under the sticks.
That's a great ball. I'm looking to try and take it. Here we go.
Off we go with Young, and Young has real speed, and Grady is with him, and Grady will take over from here if the bounce is good. There we go for Cardiff. Anscombe, it's pinched, and now it's offloaded, and Young's away. And Young is going all the way for the Welsh Seals and for Cardiff.
Yeah, all the analysis on Scrum 5 later on this evening. Well, this is the final match of the penultimate weekend of the Women's Six Nations. Yesterday, Scotland took on Italy and England travelled to Musgrave Park to take on Ireland.
Ball comes away, still England, they need to stretch this out wide, they've got numbers out there, Packer can tell, now McDonald, she does give the pass away, Kildun will finish. Well, the clock is starting to count down now to the 80 in Cork as we get to see a breakaway through Talling, and it's to Sarah Byrne. She's just running along with Irish players hanging off her. Cabert with a nice pass to Matthew, straight under the posts.
Conco Roberts, lovely pass from McLaughlin, offloads to Louise McMillan, who's over for the try. Manuzzi, good first touch. Ostuni Manuzzi, weaving her way past purple jerseys. Vittorio Ostuni Manuzzi for the line. Vicchini gets the offload. Vicchini goes under the sticks. Skeldon throws in. Donaldson on it again. And here they go, Scotland halted for now. Skeldon has it. The momentum's with them. Skeldon's over for a second try.
So this is how the table looks as it stands. England are on maximum points. France also looking good to add to their 3 wins. Wales still have that all-important 3rd place. Scotland, following their first win in 12 Six Nations games, go 4th. Italy 5th. Ireland yet to pick up a point. Yes, some great rugby over the weekend. Have to talk about Scotland. That is a big monkey off their back. It has been a long time, hasn't it?
Gosh, such a long time. Captain Rachel Malcolm was literally in tears at the end of the game because, like you say, it's been almost a year, or over a year actually, since they've had a win, and they've been so close, within points. So fantastic for them to get that monkey off the back and hopefully finish the tournament with a bit of a high.
And having seen that England scoreline, I'm just thinking next weekend, with 50,000 tickets, more than actually now sold, it's going to be a cracker against France for that Grand Slam.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. You always dream of playing in front of crowds of 50,000+ people, yet playing in your home stadium of Twickenham. It's going to be a fantastic occasion, and if France get the win today, they're both going to be on for the Grand Slam.
Oh, fascinating. Can't wait. Right then, let's go back to France, shall we? Alex is standing by. More company, Alex.
Thanks, Katrin. Yeah, this time I'm joined by Rachel Taylor, part of our commentary team out here in Grenoble. Rachel, what are your thoughts on that first half?
Yeah, look, an incredible stadium, incredible atmosphere, but it's really clear and dominant that France have come out, with intent today. I think maybe the way Wales played last time out against England, they want to stamp that out straight away, and they've done that. The physicality, the way they're trying to put tempo into the game, it's really, really testing the Welsh defence. I think it's really difficult for Wales, to handle this pressure, but there's got to be glimpses, there've got to be things that they've got to try and take from this game now from a performance point of view.
And can Wales get back into this in the second half, and how do they go about that?
I think we heard, didn't we, from the coaching staff earlier that tries are really important. Can they get on the scoreboard? Can they settle their nerves? I've just put my coat on because there's been a dramatic weather change in the last 5 minutes. So a little bit of rain in the air, a little bit of moisture in the air. It's going to change the way both teams play, but it certainly gives an opportunity for Wales.
Thanks, Rachel. I'll let you get back off up to commentary.
Thank you.
She's going to have to sprint back up there. A few minutes to go. I'll ask you the same question, Philippa. What do Wales do?
Well, you know what? On one side of it, the coaching management can look at that and say, girls, we haven't seen you in this. It's not like you've thrown everything, done the best you possibly could, and that's not good enough. So wipe it off. Everyone, up your game, and this is your chance to prove what you can do.
You know what that changing room is like better than anybody. Johan, what is he like as a coach? Is somebody shouting, is there? Is Hannah having a word quietly with a few players? What's going on?
Yeah, Johan's a very calm-natured person anyway, so he's going to go in there. There's not going to be shouting. He's going to then try and bring positivity. There's no point shouting and screaming now. It's let's go again, get out in the second half, bring the positivity, and with the possession they do then have, take the opportunities. They've had the same possession as France, so it's what they can do with it now in the second half.
They need to get something, don't they, from this second half before a huge match against Italy next weekend. Right then, I wonder, is Rachel Taylor back in commentary? Do you back her? I do. She's still got it. Let's rejoin her and Gareth.
Sadly not quite. She might have been held back by the weather change because there's a storm coming seemingly from the Alps. We're here in Grenoble, the Stade Alps. What a wonderful stadium, 20-odd thousand here. The noise has been deafening at times, and the mist that's drifting down towards us now is being carried by a breeze that's seemingly behind Wales. So the restart and the second half should be favourable from a Wales perspective, and they need everything in their favour. Eleanor Snowsill to restart. Yeah, the win carrying that ball the extra 2 or 3 metres. Chambon, inexperienced as scrum half from Grenoble, has impressed in the first. Courtney Keat, big powerful runner. Cerys Hale took a knock, departed for 5-10 minutes for an HIA. She's back on. Snowsill, Fleming. Few of the Wales players carrying bumps and bruises. Penalty coming. Georgie Evans, top Wales carrier in the first half. Snowsill, Thaiki George, penalty.
Not rolling.
It's breezy down there, Rachel.
I thought it was breezy down there. It's even worse up here.
Oh, right, okay. It's favouring Wales. Good, positive start to this second half. And Wales know 1 point in the final 2 matches. This half and then Italy in Parma next weekend will be enough to give them 3rd place. And of course, 3rd place arguably was the best they possibly could have hoped for, considering the gulf between Wales and France. But also, most importantly, the top 3 in this competition will play in the new autumn series, the WXV. Wales. Not straight.
Not straight.
Coach killer.
Same as before, not straight.
Yeah, 100%. Both teams guilty of it, aren't they, at line out? But whether they've looked at each other, had 4 words with the referee around what that might look like and the opportunities it might create, but that's incredibly frustrating for Wales. Like you said, just getting back into this now, opportunity to start the second half in the way they want to. They'll be frustrated by that, but they can force an exit. They can push France into having to kick and try and regain possession as soon as they can.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
French backline are getting very excited. They've got something planned here. Scrum is solid. Let's see what's happening. Yeah. I thought they might be up there. Boulard, not the best of passes to your ends, but she has got gas. And she is away. Oh, brilliant by your ends. And France are up to the halfway line, and Wales have disrupted the play, slowed down possession. Chambon wants a penalty. She may well get it. Georgia Evans was up flat there. Penalty coming.
Off it.
Tremoulier, oh, she's done this before. Hermé, back inside to Banet. Banet past Snowsill. Banet past the second. Sochard. France flying in Grenoble. That's a big carry by Picou as well. From one end of the field to the other. Now they give it some width. Brilliant. Boulard back inside. What a try. What a score. They attacked from deep. Escudero, the try scorer, but the ambition from underneath their own posts. France have gone the whole way, and they've got another cheer here at the Stade des Alpes. Brilliant.
Absolutely incredible team try. You've got open side flankers, basketball tapping it down to wingers back inside. Play continues, some great hands. You've got hookers popping up in channels they shouldn't be, props playing scrum halves, and then again you see blindside flanker in the other 15-metre channels stretching Wales's defence from side to side. Each runner has got an inside support player, an outside support player. It's just so hard to defend for Wales, but let's not take anything away from that French attack. That is an incredible team try.
Brilliant. Superb. Tremoulier into the wind now. No. So 34-0 Wales. Wonderful handling. Ménager combining with Escudero. But that was a team try. And now the Wales players marching back towards the halfway line. Heads are dipped. Snowsill. Tremoulier. Keats beaten by the bounce. Snowsill. Tremoulier. Scampering back. Boulard. Neumann gave chase and Boulard just switched direction. That was just clipped on by Chambon. There's a Wales scrum and offside, which scrum turning into penalty.
In front.
Yeah, just that kicking game again, isn't it? Both trying to move the back three. Smart play from Wales, just tries to get that kick bounce over people's heads rather than allow them to come on and take it on the full. But unusual from France, probably a little bit guilty of trying to overplay. That's a big mistake from Lleuchi George.
I think George went for the Hail Mary. She missed. Coaches often tell the players, give me the 5-yard channel if you do miss, you do miss. And she has. Your ends, 100 metres for her in 3 carries today. 2 tries. There's efficiency for you.
I think that's been a lot of the difference we've seen between these two teams, isn't it? The ability to get the ball out wide early enough for these players to do what they do so well, and in terms of execution, that is a success rate that she'll be really pleased with.
Okay, if the pattern is to be repeated, France will go from here. Tremulia takes it to the line, and she wraps round, drops it. Oh, good pickup from Snowsill. Wales, one quick ball. France have slowed it down. More than that, they've got a penalty. And now they fancy going quickly, no? Again, so many red flags from a Welsh defensive point of view.
Yeah, there are. They just spoke about it at half-time. It just seems that this French team, their senses, their intent, it's heightened in this atmosphere, and they're just managing to see things that Wales can't see quick enough. They're picking up space, they're hearing all of the comms around the support players that they've got. Wales are just a little bit slow. It's another great pickup from Eleanor Snowsill. We saw one of those in the England game as well, just her support players are a little bit slow to come. I wonder if the weather as well is the reason. Maybe they're trying to keep ball in hand and not kick into this really strong wind.
And the rain has dropped down from the hills as well. A little dab kick through. Ball almost landed into the breadbasket of Menage, but Neumann got back. Wales have rare possession. Abby Constable, her international debut. Sioned Harris, so often the catalyst when it comes to Wales. Sioned Harris, penalty against France.
Yeah, no clear release, just the forwards doing the work there again. Bit of a different change of inside line, just support play off Eleanor Snowsill's inside, just trying to draw those defenders out, forcing a penalty.
This time, George finds touch. I think it's worth repeating that the weather certainly has changed here in Grenoble. There's a stiff wind that's swirling around the stadium, making it difficult for kickers. The drizzle has arrived. And Carys Phillips will be fully aware of these conditions right now, because they're tricky for kickers and hookers. Yep. George gets it. George accelerates into the tackle. George Evans. She's carried ever so willingly in this game, sometime into big blue brick walls. Sioned Harris, low defensive tackle on her, and she crawls over. Closest Wales have got so far. Fionn Lewis wants Constable to assume responsibility. She's driven back by Brousseau. And now momentum and shape has been lost. So they go up and direct. Still there for Wales. Still stopped by France. The storm is brewing here in Grenoble, and Wales have their best opportunity. Sioned Harris! Still they come. Forwards, picking, going, knocking on the door. Lewis digs, gets it away to Llakey George. Crossing is the scream that echoes around the Stade des Alpes. But play continues. And Wales are still coming. The wind is relentless here. Conditions are so tricky to play. But Fionn Lewis is patient, and she demands more from her forwards. Cerys Hale, she's within a metre. Another pickup, another drive, another penalty coming. Free play if Fionn Lewis wants it. Try. On the line, says the referee. And despite being down by 34 points, there are smiles on the faces of George Evans, the try scorer, and her teammates. Wales finally have a score in Grenoble.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a protest from a couple of the French players. Really keen to see that again, I think. I did think Charlotte Harries had made it perhaps 1, 2, 3, 4 phases earlier, but the work rate from the Welsh pack just to keep going under the guidance of Lewis. The wind is so strong. I think Snowsill really needs somebody to hang on to this ball for her.
Well, the cameraman needs to hold on to this camera. You can see the camera shaking here. Our notes are flying everywhere. Snowsill needs support. And it's gratefully accepted, and Wales are up to 7. Changes for France as well.
All the grounding, if there is something clear, the grounding. Yeah, I understand. We checked all the phases before the grounding. I think number 8.
Bernadou on, Gross on as well.
What I absolutely love about this French team is that they're still arguing whether or not that was a try, despite being 34 points up. They have got a new hunger about their defence. Absolutely fuming that Wales have crossed their white line.
So 53 minutes played.
Yep.
A Grand Slam showdown is being erected.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Twickenham HQ, 50,000 plus expected there. And if the atmosphere is 50%, 20% of this one, there will be a treat in store.
Crouch!
And also, if anything, Rachel, a contrast in styles, because we are repeating it, France want to play, don't they?
They do, you can tell. I'd love to see the stats after, just the number of offloads from this French team so far, and the amount of times that first carry is outside of the first receiver, really trying to play with width. As are Wales here, much better to see them trying to strike early.
Charlotte Harris, one of those players who's on a part-time contract, still kept her position as a school teacher. The option is there. Good kick on the Snowsill. And Tremulia, had to come back. Was that knocked on? She's done well, but she gets the ball away, and Wales, with the wind behind them, are starting to build something here. George Evans. Oh. And back we come. I think certainly momentum has changed, but the conditions are favourable from a Wales point of view, yeah?
Yeah, they are. We can just see out there now just how slippery that ball is getting, the amount of unforced errors that are creeping into the game. But much better from Wales, an opportunity to go wide off first phase, just opens up that backfield, and a far, far better kick from Eleanor Snowsill, forcing that error.
So, 4 substitutions for Wales. Front row changed completely. Kira Bevan in addition. And if anything, that doesn't weaken the team, no?
No, absolutely not. Look, we always knew that this front row would come on at some point during this game, potentially a fraction earlier than we'd planned, but you've seen from that last couple of phases of play just how hard this Welsh pack are moving and how hard they're going to have to carry for the remainder of this game. So having those changes now is absolutely massive. Alex Callender coming on as well for Bethan Lewis, just another opportunity to try and get over the ball in these difficult conditions.
For those viewers hoping to watch the FA Cup semi-final between Brighton and Manchester United, that's available over on BBC 2 Wales right now. Alex Callender on for Bethan Lewis.
Thank you.
It's horrible out there.
It's horrible up here.
That's true. It's been dry.
True.
Lisa Neumann right on the near touchline. How will this scrum fare this time? Harris gets it away. Kira Bevan, first contribution, first touch, and she's through the gap. Fleming. Wales have a buzz around them. Alex Carlander, fresh energy off the bench. Bevan, Lleici George, such a talented ball player, can play 10 and 12. France competing at the deck. Wales scrambling to keep ball, and they've done so through Fleming. Shape has been lost a little bit. Pick and go. Another carry. It's not flashy, but it's low risk. Pearce, supported by Tuipulotu. She's there. Try number 2. And it's Gwenllian Pearce. Immediate impact off the bench. And with the wind behind them, suddenly there's optimism in the French air.
Yeah, exactly that, just playing to the conditions, and as we just mentioned, just those substitutions bringing on just a new lease of energy, a new enthusiasm and a hunger to carry, and that's exactly what you see from this front row, fighting their way to get the ball down over the line. Real sort of attitude change in this last 10 minutes from Wales.
And the buzz and the excitement and the atmosphere we've been celebrating here at the Stade des Alpes has evaporated into the French mist. Now they get the enthusiasm. He seems a little bit more satisfied. 2 more tries now for Wales, and they will know that 3rd place is safe and secure.
I think it's interesting, isn't it, the contrast, if you like, of how both teams have managed this storm, if you like, quite literally. France still trying to move the ball and play that offload game, but forcing errors, whereas Wales playing much tighter game when they get into that 22. Like you said, less risk of a knock-on, but they're getting the reward for it. And it'd be interesting to see if France almost go back to type around how they play, but they've got such a strong wind against them now, they're going to have to run it if they are going to choose to do so.
Lleici George, who all of a sudden has found a real edge of confidence, and she looks such a talented player, and this time she's jogging back, and not a big chase from France either, so she's got plenty of time, and she bangs it away up towards the halfway line. And if you wanted an indication as to the power of the wind and how Lleici George is feeling right now, voila.
I'm not sure it's the wind. She's been doing kicks like that all season so far for Gloucester Hartbury in the Allianz Prem. A couple of 50-22s already to her name, so that's the luxury, I guess, not only of having that second ball player and somebody who's comfortable in that 12 jersey to step in as first receiver, but just the extra option she gives Wales as a kicking game.
Into the final quarter. France were 34-0 up. Still way too early to think of anything other than a French victory. And a grand slam decider in Twickenham next week. But Wales are capitalising on this wind, on this breeze, storm that's right behind them. And it suits, if anything, their style, as you touched upon, Rachel.
15 blue, 15 blue.
Not conservative, but pragmatic and relatively low risk.
Yeah, you know, we'd be throwing everything at them if they failed to capitalise on the fact they've got this massive strong wind, you know, and it's a really change of conditions. The ball has gone very, very greasy. There's lots of knocks-ons.
Right, let's go down pitch side, back to Alexander Richards.
Thanks, Crow. I'm joined again by Alicia Butchers. Alicia, a great start to the second half, 2 tries on the board. You couldn't wish for better.
No, I think it's credit to our coaches and how clear our messages were at half-time, and credit to the girls they put a fire in second half, and hopefully we can continue this progression and get a couple more points on the board.
And the weather's taken a considerable turn for the worst in the second half. Do you think that's helped you?
I think it's definitely helped our pick and go game where our tries have come from, but I think that's just credit to the girls and how they physically fronted up in the second half, and I'm just excited to see how they go now for the next 20 minutes.
Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, Alicia.
Winning scrum.
Penalty as well.
Straight.
Yeah, it's that front row again, isn't it? That's just the impact that it does. Opportunity to go with a wheel. I thought potential opportunity to play advantage there from the referee. It looked as if Kira Bevan had an opportunity to strike down that blind side, but that'll be a nice, great feeling for that front row coming on, knowing that they've got that capability to use that as a weapon now to gain that field territory again.
No, I think the button was good enough. The timing is good enough. Please be careful. Yeah, I check. Absolutely. I check more. At the moment, it's okay. I check more. No problem. Please, your number one, your looser, have to stay and push straight. No wheeling. Thank you so much. Wait.
Scotland win helped Wales yesterday. They just need that 1 point to finish third. Sionet Harris, the loose line out, but Harris was fully aware of the opportunity presented to her. Alex Callender, Kelsey Jones alongside her. This is the forwards keeping it tight. George Evans, arguably Wales' best player this afternoon over the opening 60 minutes. Hannah Jones swallowed by the French defence.
Looked high, that one for me. I'm not sure if we'll get an opportunity to review it.
Harris. Wales getting the most change out of the most simple of stuff. Kelsey Jones, Callender on the shoulder. Ménager falling on the wrong side, but ball is back again. George. Evans, so many carries from the Saracens lock. Tuipulotu, good tackle on her. Hermé went low and just sacked her immediately. Another big defensive effort from France, and Wales are losing ball, and this is dangerous. Snowsill took a time on the floor there. There's no full back here now on the left-hand side. Tuipulotu. Sionet Harris. This game has been turned on its head. Gwynllian Pearce. It's France's turn to do the defending. George, wild pass. Williams-Morris, good strength by her though. Then she's driven back. Again, there's no full back for France. A chip kick could work. Harris, how much work is she going through? She's knocked it on.
I was going to interrupt during that phase of play just to say it's really smart from players like Llaki George offering themselves as those direct runners, shorter lines as centres, because it just gives those forwards a split-second breather. It's not a lot of time, but it's just enough time to get themselves into shape again. Probably Wales just needs to be a little bit careful on some of these pre-latches before they go into contact. But that, you know, if you can get away with it, it's brilliant. It's working for them, so why would they change? I think it's just options that they're running out of. This French defence is so ferocious in their tackles. Ménager is physically just trying to put herself back in this game, trying to turn this tide. And you can see the hunger as soon as they get half line break, they're chasing it, and this crowd is trying to get everything behind them.
France have been defending for 15 minutes, but when they stick on the afterburners, they are so lethal. This is Hermé looking for support, finding contact. They are queuing up on the left-hand side if they want to use them. Forwards combining midfield, substitutes doing the hard work. Penalty though. Kira Bevan, up and away she goes, there's no full back. Llorens scrambles back, Hannah Jones on her back. She's a danger though, already has a hat-trick. Vernier, highlighted pre-match, if anything, has been the quietest of the French backs. Backwards, says the referee. Fleming bundled over the ruck and just making things awkward. Ménager. She really is something. Little chip kick, well read by Snowsill. Wind hammering down here at the Stade des Alpes. George Evans, the ever dependable, reliable George Evans. Penalty coming for Wales again. Kira Bevan knows this and just sticks boot to ball, knowing there's another penalty coming.
It's interesting, isn't it? Just that little bit of energy that Kira Bevan's brought to the game. Thought Fionn Lewis was very good, trying to get those forwards around the corner and demand more from them, but it's almost like Bevan's just able to see those little different changes, and it's good. It's rattling France, it's rattling this French defence, it's giving them other options, forcing them to turn, trying to speed up the game, but on their terms rather than having to play at the speed that France want to play. But it's interesting, I think, weirdly from a French coaching perspective, they'd probably quite like this moment to go through at this particular part of the game, because they know what test they've got coming next week against England, and it's not all going to go their way. And I think this is probably a really good opportunities for the coaches to see how they manage in these conditions, under this amount of pressure. It's a good prep in a kind of weird way to have to say that, but it is, with knowing what they've got to come next weekend.
A few more changes for France. Ménager replaced in midfield by Philippon. Wasn't straight.
Not straight. No, I think it was good. Well, no, yeah, it was good enough. Ladies.
I think it's worth repeating the fact that Wales have never won in France. Only scored more than 7 once before until today. That was 8, wasn't it? I think 10, was it? So, baby steps. Baby steps for Wales. The battle to finish third wasn't said publicly, because clearly you don't start a campaign with the ambition of finishing third, but turnover ball here, penalty here. And with the context of that, still 10 minutes left, 2 more tries and third place is in the bag.
Yeah, and I think interesting to hear the message from Alicia Butcher's pitch side. You know, the clear messaging from the coaches is that go out, get us 4 tries. Is in within their capability. You know, they seem so much more focused. Yes, the game might have gone, but this sudden change of attitude and intent is creating opportunities for them. And that front three of that front row, they are having such a great tournament.
Again, somehow, an untidy, messy line, and initially lands in red hands, but now France have turned it over. They counter-attacked from a similar position, wind in their faces. Wales competing at the breakdown. Alex Callender told to get out of the way, not to over-exude herself at the breakdown. She's been a nuisance, and Chambon trying to get there. Eventually, Callender forced Chambon to pick, to go.
I think she might have made a name for herself with the French crowd as well during that passage of play.
France, oh, nowhere to go there. And now, horrible place to clear from. Shauna Harris right in the thick of things, unsurprisingly.
It just needs to be smart here now, Wales. Listen to the referee, don't concede a penalty. The last thing they want to do is give them an easy exit. They know they're forcing this pressure on France. They don't need to do anything unnecessary.
This is hard work for Alexandra Chambon. Plays a rugby here at the Stade des Alpes. But this is pressure. And she gets the ball away. That's a big win for the Wales pack. Well, the locals aren't too happy.
And that is absolutely ferocious work from the Welsh forwards at their breakdown. Alex Callender not easing up for 1 second, hands all over it, hairs everywhere. We always see that hair bubble coming out and the blonde hair all over the place, but every part of that French defence just so hungry to get off the line and really force pressure on France.
Let them play because they were okay. Line out, line out.
Okay.
Yeah. Time is off.
$20 points between the two teams.
Yep.
8 minutes left. It was all gloomy at half-time.
Okay.
And then, when France went to 34 points,
Second.
Wales fans would have feared the worst. Oh, hang on. TMO. What's going on here then?
By number 8 red.
We are here?
Yes. The action of 20 blue, that pulled number 8, and then number 8, 10.
This is Shauna Harris. It's that swing of the arm. Rachel.
Yeah, you can see the frustration of both players. It just probably doesn't reflect well on Shauna Harris because it almost seems as if that fist is closed, therefore more of a punch and action.
So,
Clara?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What I see is a action by 8 red.
I mean,
she tried to move the opposite player with her hands. I can't see a clear dangerous action more than a penalties.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I can't tell.
that's it.
For me, it's a swing as a reaction because of you, your swing arm is a penalty against you. Just yeah.
That's fine.
The fact that Shauna Harris accepted her medicine when she said, you know, it's just a penalty. She's like, yeah, that's fine. She would have been worried there, I think, Rachel.
Yeah, having picked up a yellow card in the first half, you know, her immediate thought would have been gone, like, am I gone? Is that a red card? But I think that's probably the right decision. You know, it's tough in those breakdown areas. You know, everybody's given a little bit of everything, and you can tell that they're rattling them. But it's just the fact that it's a swinging arm. She's lucky it's not a closed fist. You know, it's not anything more severe than that. But you can't show that sort of ill discipline, unfortunately, and it's a let off for France.
So, is there a final squirt of the cream on the cake? France have been pretty lifeless in the second half, forced to do some defensive practice ahead of the big Twickenham showdown. Now Banet forces the tackle away from Kira Bevan. They want another try here. Suddenly, we are reminded what 20,000 passionate supporters can sound like. And there's been a momentum shift. And that penalty to Shauna Harris certainly was that.
Yeah, that French defence taking a huge confidence from holding out Wales there. Just another flex of the muscles, isn't it? Going through the defensive patterns. And it's just the ability to turn this game. The options that they have. Banet, I don't know how many times she's just got the ability to beat a defender, and it's not necessarily in space. She's very strong in her upper body, just got really good balance with the ball. It's a strong fend, and it just puts that Welsh backline on the back foot all over again. But yeah, this French team are having a real test in this last moments of this game.
To the front they go, to Picou. The starters out is roaring. Sosha. Shauna Harris will be penalised. She's on a yellow card. Ménager. Repelled by Alex Callender. Substitutes. Carrying, picking off Wales defenders. Sosha. They're rumbling on. Vernier. This time she stopped. She so often isn't. Sosha. She's ever so close. If they go now, France, the try is on because they've got huge numbers on the outside. Chambon knows this. Tremelier. Crossfield kick. Beats everyone. Penalty coming.
Yeah, opportunity to play with the advantage, but Sosha, for me, has been everywhere during this game. She has had some incredible carries. She's popping up in the wider channels. She's just really smart play, knows that they were likelihood to keep going down that blind side. Just holds herself on the open. Just such a smart rugby player.
What are we waiting on here? Hermé is the player of the match. Scorer of France's second try. It was a cute finish by the former skipper. Neumann receiving some treatment. A lot of blood there as well. What's your take on this match?
I think a disappointing first half for Wales. Yes, probably the occasion slightly, you know, gave them that freeze. France looked incredibly strong, and the way they want to play rugby, they will be a force to be reckoned with next weekend for sure at Twickenham. But Wales can take massive heart from this second half, the hunger and the passion, and I think a lot of it's in that belief. You know, you see the change of the ability to score a try and what that does to them for the next 10-15 minutes. My only worry is that this has been a hugely physical contest, and I just hope that there's enough strength in depth, that we've got enough recovery plan for the week, because that game against Italy will have a lot on it.
And can France win the Grand Slam?
The way they're playing, you know, don't get me wrong, that they'll be disappointed to have conceded 14 points today, having only conceded 15 from the other 3 games, and England will test them. But they do play some very attractive rugby that England won't have dealt with.
France not had everything their way in the second half, but that one is straight into the hands of Groh, looking to seal the win. It was in the bag by half-time, but then they got some defensive practice. Ménager is over the line. Can she get the ball down? No, she stopped. Another penalty coming. And ironically, the wind has switched direction, Rachel, and suddenly it's behind France, I think.
On the line, Red, on the line.
It's just going to follow the team with the most momentum during the game.
Yes. She's some player as well, Ménager.
Yeah, she'll be huge, massive player, ability in the carry, in the loose. Physically, she's such a specimen of a rugby player. She has everything you need for a number 8, and she'll be a massive asset to their game next weekend.
One last jab from the big French pack. Encouraged by the Stade de France Stade des Alpes supporters. Vernier cutting an angle in her typical fashion. Now they're within a metre. Wales have had to do so much defending in this game, especially for the first 50. Pick and go. Forwards driving. Forwards scoring. That seals it. It's a French win, and it's a Grand Slam showdown in Twickenham next weekend. Watch out the Red Roses. France mean business, and they've got the win here in Grenoble, and it looks like Bernardo, the tight head, will get the credit. Rosa Bernardo, and France are up to 39 points to 14.
Yeah, finally starting to play to conditions, ironically, but that's their strength in depth and their front row as well. Be a really fitting moment if Jessie Tramillier can manage to slot this one, but the wind is definitely against her.
Her final match in her home country. One of the all-time greats. The approach will be as it always is. It will seem effortless, and regardless to whether or not this goes over, she will get one big cheer. Get over, go on. Not to be. But she, once again, has just impressed so many of us by her attitude or anything, her calmness, her ability to make the right call at the right time. So, England next weekend for France, 50,000 plus, Wales in Palma, knowing that 1 point will be enough, Rachel.
Yeah, and I think they'll take huge credit from this second half performance. Be interested to see how Italy come out of the blocks, you know, having suffered a defeat as well. So it's going to be all to play for next weekend for Wales and Italy.
Ladies. Blue squad, touched by red. Just calm down. No. It's okay.
There are plenty of work on, though. We will focus on the positive 25 minutes, but much of it will be hard watch for Wales this week, yeah?
Yeah, it will be. I think probably France's hunger to go wide so early will worry Wales. That's obviously something that they're going to target, whether that's back three positionally, if they feel there's an opportunity. You know, Italy might have a look at that as well when they come to analyse Wales.
France. One final hit out. Looking to go from depth. This time Bane goes nowhere. Abby Fleming took a big hit there. Just took a sec to compose herself. Kelsey Jones. Good energy off the bench from her and Callender and Pearson to a Blotto. King is on as well. Vernier. Foot over the touch line. Referee will bring this match to an end. France thoroughly deserved the victory. They led by 34 points to 0. A spirited fight back from Wales, taking full advantage of a change in the conditions, has given the scoreline an air of respectability, but make no mistake about it, the gap is significant. France and England are streets ahead of the rest, but Wales know that they can get a third place in Parma next weekend. Final score here in Grenoble: France 39, Wales 14.
Well, France take the win. They were dominant in that first half, and despite a mini comeback from the visitors, Wales leave Grenoble with nothing. France, with all their flair, scored 6 tries. This a beautifully worked team effort. They go for Grand Slam glory against England next week. So the stats, they tell the story, don't they? 39-14, the final score. Possession, all square. Wales had the better territory. Penalties conceded, 14 for Wales, 9 for France. Metres made, 735 for France, 515 for Wales. So this is how the table looks. England are on maximum points. France a point behind, so a shootout next weekend for that Grand Slam and title. Wales still have that all-important third place despite this afternoon's result. Scotland, following their first win in 16 Six Nations games, they go fourth, followed by Italy. Ireland yet to pick up a point. Well, it was a masterclass by France in the end. As we expected, they are a top team, Philippa.
Yeah, they certainly are. But you know what? I've got to give real credit to Wales. They had a tough first half. Opening moments of the second half, they concede a fantastic try from France. They could have self-imploded, but they didn't. They got back into the game. They got that try. And what's more important is they recognised the momentum shift and they built on it. So still positives to be taken from that game.
Yeah, Jazz, actually, you said it at half-time. It's a game of two halves. I doubted you when you said it. At the time, I thought, you know, I can see what's happening here. But you were right. That character, some good substitutes as well from Johan Cunningham, and there was a different kind of belief from Wales in that final 40.
Yeah, absolutely. Disappointing first half, but whatever Johan and Hannah were said in the changing rooms definitely flicked a switch in the players, and to see them go out there and battle hard to get the 2 tries, but also in 25 minutes they had what was probably 99% of the territory and possession. So for them to go out there, the heart, belief and fight that they showed in the last half of that game is phenomenal, and hopefully they can take that into Italy now next weekend.
Yeah, how much will that help them now before going to Parma with that final game against Italy? Because it's a carbon copy, really, of what happened last time out. 2 good wins, 2 defeats, and then 8-10 they lost to Italy. They need to get over the line. They need a point, at least.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it was really hard for the girls last year when they lost that game because they gave it away to Italy, you know. So it's going to be key now. They recognise the positivity of that second half. They build on it. But what's more important, that was incredibly physical match. So their recovery going into Italy is going to be absolutely key.
And they go straight to Parma this evening, where they will spend the week preparing ahead of that final game.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for the girls to go straight to Parma now from France, which has never been done before. So they've got an entire week in preparation for this final game of the Six Nations. They'll recover hard. I'm sure they'll have a nice day tomorrow, a day off. And then, yeah, preparation for a big final game of the Six Nations then for them.
Gareth mentioned there at the end of commentary the gap between England and France and then the rest. How much of a gap is there now? And are we closing it slowly?
We absolutely are closing it. We scored 2 fantastic tries in that second half. We haven't scored many points against France. You know, a real goal to playing against England was try and keep them to 50, score against them. Didn't quite meet it, but Wales have responded and they did challenge that French team. Part of this progression for this Welsh team now is they're building on their skill set, they're building on their athleticism, which we can see, but it's more almost like the psychological development, that ability to hold on to game plans, to change things, what's happening in front of you, to hustle England, but capitalise on it, to deal with that pressure of the first half and turn it around in the second half, which they did. So I know you have to really look into it. You can't just look at the results, but look into the game. And Wales are definitely closing that gap.
Because their game management in that second half was impressive. We always complain about the weather here in Wales. We managed the conditions very well. It helped us, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The conditions like that, you don't want to be zipping the ball wide all the time. And we scored 2 lovely tries in the forwards. And France then adopted to that kind of strategy within the forwards, picking and going. So, yeah, great to see the development and management that Snowy and kind of the fly halves did in the second half.
We are hoping to hear from Wales very soon, Johan Cunningham. We hear that they're handing out caps at the moment. It's an important job to do. The French just celebrating there, but Jessie Tremoulière, we want to talk about her because you actually played with her when she made her debut. It's her final French match in front of the home crowd. She will play, we assume, against England next weekend. But what a farewell for her and what a player.
Oh, what a player. Not only World Rugby Player of the Year, World Rugby's Player of the Decade. I mean, that's an acclamation. And we saw it, you know, she's in her latter years, but she's still got that execution, that skill, that composure. Nothing phases her. And I believe she's retiring to go back to her farm, to see out her time working on the farm, you know. But she's such a humble character. And I remember when she made her debut at fly half, very sparky. She was almost the first in the women's game with the off-the-cuff rugby. And at the time, the management didn't like it. They actually dropped her for the next game. They wanted more of a structured game, but she stuck in there and she's been there at every major point for France. She's been at the heart of it.
What a player. Right then, we hear that the important job of handing out caps, that has finished, because we can now hear from the Welsh captain, Hannah Jones, who's with Alex.
Hannah, a tough first half, a much improved second half. How do you reflect on that game today?
Yeah, we started a bit slow, so we can't start like that again. You know, we came alive in the second half. We need to bring that from the off.
Pleasing to get 2 tries and some points on the board in that second half?
Yeah, definitely. Our pack worked really hard and they deserve those tries.
Italy next week. You're staying there this week. How much will that help preparations for that game?
Yeah, definitely. Coming off a good back second half like that can only, you know, gain momentum going into Italy now. So we'll regather, regroup and look forward to next week.
Congratulations today. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we are, Hannah Jones. As a captain, what is she like, by the way? Because she also feels and sounds very focused out there.
Yeah, she is definitely focused and stern and definitely comes across on the pitch as a player who doesn't smile and is straight-faced, but she's literally my best friend. So off the pitch, she's fantastic. She's a laugh and she enjoys off the pitch. She's very professional in everything she does, which is what you expect from a captain, and she leads through and through, and she's a brilliant player to have on the pitch, and so excited for her to, get to captain Wales, I guess.
She seems to be enjoying it. Right then, we've got plenty of tries to look at. Let's start with the pick of the bunch right at the start of that second half. Don't want to even mention the try scorer because it was a team try, wasn't it, Philippa?
This is classic French women's rugby at its best. What a way to start the second half. Literally every single player is going to be involved in it. That's a tap back from a back row player. You can see there was almost 7 skills. Banet doing her thing, keeping that ball alive. But pass inside, you'd expect to a 9, it goes to a hooker. short, direct carry runners, but you know they're always going to be looking to get onto that outside edge. But the key here is the fact that entire team know that ball needs to get on the outside edge. Look, again, back rower in on that 15 channel, offload, offload. They've got the highest offloading stats out of all the team in the Six Nations, and that's why. But you can only do that if every single player on the team is on the same page. They can all read it, and then that's why it's so successful.
Can you practice something like that?
I don't think you can practice necessarily knowing where everyone is, but it's definitely something you do in training, knowing each player, what they do, what they prefer. Do they prefer an offload? Do they prefer a carry? So it's definitely something you can work on individually as an offload, but I think a try like that is just fantastic, isn't it? You can't practice that. It's not a team move, is it? It's just everyone being on the same page.
It's the stuff of dreams for any coach. Talking of coaches, the Welsh coach, Johan Cunningham, is now with Alex.
Johan, commiserations today. What do you make of that performance?
Oh, well, we probably gave ourselves too much to do in our first half and didn't quite start as well as we wanted to. And when you come to somewhere like this, if you don't start well, you find yourself 2 scores down, and it's a tough place to be. But I'm really proud of the effort second half. We won that 14-12 and we came back really strong. So stuff to build on for next week.
Yeah, it's a better performance that second half. How frustrating was it, though, not to build on that momentum after those 2 tries?
Yeah, you know, we missed the third opportunity in the 22, so the line-out misfired a little bit, and then we put loads of pressure on their exit, which I was really pleased with, but unfortunately give a penalty away, and that's the difference at this level. You know, when you play a top side like France, you have to take those opportunities.
Arguably 2 of the toughest games of the tournament are done now. What are the learnings you take from these 2 games?
Oh, you know, when you play the top side, you've got to take your chances and your opportunities. You have to be clinical. We have to be calm when we get those chances as well, and so that's something we're going to take as a learning as we grow as a group.
And Italy next week now. That second half performance, it was better. What confidence do you take going into that game against Italy?
Yeah, we could take confidence out of that second half. You know, the way we dominated physically, I thought, with the ball in hand. But it's going to be a tough challenge for us, and it's all on next week. You know, it's for that 3rd spot, so it's going to be a tough week.
Unlucky today. Thanks, Johan.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all about being clinical, says Johan Cunningham. And when they had their opportunities in the second half, they were clinical. Those forwards, they put in a shift, didn't they?
Yeah, as much as I hate to acknowledge it as a back player, you got to give it to them, those forward carries.
Asking you to this,
I know, yeah. But you know what, like you said, you know, playing to conditions as well. The rain came down and that almost played into Wales's hands because they have developed this short, direct game and they were able to utilise that and get the benefit from it and also impact from the bench. You know, favourite player, Cecilia Tuipulotu, coming on, doing her carries. Gwen Pearce coming on, doing her carries as well.
We thought Charlotte Harris had got the ball down, didn't we?
Yes, yeah, she was within millimetres, but luckily and crucially not held up over the line, so it was able to come back round and they could keep going away at it. But, you know, a key change for Wales has been the ability to hold on to the ball in these sort of circumstances, to be able to recycle and go again and go again. And this was the one here, look, it's just fingertip short. But they kept on to the ball and then they come away with a try eventually with Georgia Evans.
And when they look back now, Monday morning, on this game, or Tuesday morning, maybe after a day's rest, what will be the main learnings, do you think? What will they look at and think, look, we did that well?
I think it's tough because you look at the scoreboard and it was 39-14, but actually, if you look at the whole game as a whole, there's huge positives in it. There was huge positive clips in this now where we had the momentum for a long time of the game and we scored, we kept the ball, and then look, we're on it again. Great impact from the subs again. Got Kira Bevanyer, who's been making breaks for the entire campaign. You've got Alex Callender, who's going to make another huge carry here, and then, like say, Gwen Pearce on the end of a huge forwards try. It's fantastic to see that, you know, the forwards are putting in huge shifts and giving backs momentum to play off and, yeah, giving them great ball.
And Cecilia Tuipulotu, we thought might have a little break, but she had to come on early doors, didn't she, for Cerys Hale?
Yeah, she did. I think it was a HIA for Cerys Hale, so she came on then. But I thought Johan Cunningham brought those substitutes on at perfect time. He had to bring them in at some point. It was such a physical encounter. But it was just after Wales had scored that try. Momentum was building. Get the new subs on, get that energy, get that the messages on, and they were able to kick on. So I thought that was really good management there as well.
We just want to show you once again the table because at the moment Wales are in 3rd position and they just need another point to secure that 3rd place. That 3rd place is so important because it means if they keep it, they will be at the top tier playing at the top tier of a new competition for the women's game that will be played in the autumn. And that's where they want to be, playing against the best.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic, exciting tournament. It's a global tournament, so it's bringing together all the best teams in the world. There's 3 tiers, 6 teams per tier, but you want to be in the top one, because in there is going to be New Zealand, going to be England, going to be France now. So if Wales can make it into there, building up to the next World Cup, they'll be in that for 2 years because it's ring-fenced. Then they go into the World Cup playing against teams they've played against so much, which hopefully will get them a bit more confidence going into the quarterfinals, where they should meet those sort of teams again.
Yeah, that's how they're going to improve, isn't it? As Philippa says, just facing the best. And you know that, being on the pitch with them.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for this WXV to kick on. We don't play teams like Australia, New Zealand, Canada week in, week out. So, and then we play them in a World Cup and we don't know how to play against them. So to play against them in this tournament is going to be fantastic. And like you're saying, ideally we're in that top tier, fighting for the top 3 spot.
Well, girls, thank you ever so much for your company this afternoon. It has been brilliant. The sport, well, of course, it continues here on the BBC. We're going to round up all the action, Scrum 5 Sunday, and then we'll be back next weekend for the final game, Wales against Italy. And, of course, the Grand Slam match, England against France. Who's going to take that one, Philippa, after seeing that this afternoon?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know what? I think no matter what, we will be entertained. But I have to say, England home advantage, I say England.
Jazz?
Yeah, on the back of that, I think England are on some serious form at the moment. I think they just need to not allow France any momentum to play the way they want to play. But yeah, I reckon England are going to take it as well.
OK, well, we'll soon find out. It's been a fascinating Six Nations, but there's one weekend yet to go. And for Wales, it has been a carbon copy, hasn't it, of last year's championship. 2 wins and then 2 defeats. Can they get that 3rd victory next weekend against Italy? We'll see you soon.
The perfect start in Grenoble. The kick was on a plate. Coasting through the Wales defence. And France have a bonus point. Wales finally have a score. Suddenly there's optimism. And it's a Grand Slam showdown next weekend.